we used to just sit in there for ages, didn't we? We used to just pull 3 chairs up and we'd have the Grand Prix on. None of us even liked the Grand Prix, but we used to just sit and have it on for Connor and play all his CDs, his favourite songs and things like that. But then other people would come and visit. None of us wanted to leave, did we? None of us wanted to leave him.
When I first started to go in, we didn't really do much here. We used to just like sit and watch films like constantly, and then I used to wait until he'd go to sleep, and then maybe I'd fall asleep for like 10 minutes, and then I used to wait for a couple of hours, and then when he started to get better, we started playing on like the PlayStation, and then he got the Wii, and we started playing on the Wii, and we did a few board games together and stuff like that.
At this point, they were still saying, you know, if he makes it from the next operation, this is what we plan to do next, and you know, but they just kept saying it.
If he makes it through this 48 hours, or if he makes it through the next 48 hours.
So as from coming out of the coma, he was still heavily sedated all of the time because he was in theatre 3 times a week for the dressing changes.
When they do start to become a little bit more aware of what's happening around them, usually when they're coming out of this induced coma that we have them in, it can be quite stressful for them and quite distressing. There's obviously quite a lot of pain because they're not in this induced coma anymore, and they have to get used to using an analgesia or a painkiller that they wouldn't have had when they were in this induced coma. And every time they come to do any type of activity, it becomes more painful. Just moving, even turning over in bed, is absolute agony.
Like, vaguely remember like when I was in intensive care, like the first time when I was coming round, I was like, I can't really remember seeing anyone. I just like remember seeing like where the stuff was in the room, like the telly was in the top corner and stuff, and the nurse was sitting at the bottom of the bed, and there was like a glass window all along the side of the room, like on that side, and my Newcastle top was in the corner, and then all the cards were next to that, and then just can't even remember seeing anyone that was in. Just the pain, really. That's all I remember when I was there.
Connor never came round from the coma, not where you're in a coma and then you're out of a coma. It wasn't like that. It wasn't. No, it was. Connor was put into medically induced coma, and he kept on. He was still sedated for months and months.
He was on massive amounts of morphine to control his pain. He was going to theatre 3 times a week for dressings done. When he was awake, he needed Entonox, gas and air, a lot of the time to relieve pain. Moving him was excruciating for him. Toilet, he had to go on use a bedpan. He was catheterised, which means a tube was inserted into his penis so that he could wee into a bag. And we're just generally waiting for him to heal so that we can start his physio and start getting him on the mend.
Once they've climbed the massive hill of getting through their initial phase of burn care, they've got to think about trying to get back to normal activities, and even talking, expressing themselves, communicating, eating, drinking, walking, starting to try to wash themselves. There can all be massive, massive hurdles. They've got to really push themselves through pain barriers, and they've got a huge mountain to climb to actually get back to what we would class as normal activities of living.
He'd lost that much weight. I mean, it's probably only about 5 stone. So he was just too weak to do anything. So they had to do the physiotherapy and start it themselves to get him to the position where he'd be able to walk. And they used to use like tilt table. They used to transfer him from his bed and lie him on a table and then strap him in.
Put sheets round his knees to lock his knees.
It was automatic, and they just pressed the button and they'd raise him up. And I think basically that was just to get him used to being upright.
The only thing that really got him going was his PlayStation, and then because he couldn't hold it, because he couldn't like bend his hands, it used to have to be velcroed onto his dressings for his physio. It was great physio for his thumbs. And then 2 days before Christmas Eve, was it? 2 days before Christmas Eve, they called us in, and the nurses were looking at us funny, weren't they? Like, they had smirks on their faces.
I knew there was something.
There was something going on. We knew there was something. And then we're seeing the Zimmer frame coming in. I thought, no way. And managed to get him up hold him up. But his first steps, it took Connor over a year to stand up straight. Connor was still like bent over like that, and he held onto the Zimmer frame, didn't he? And just took a couple of steps.
I think it took 3 or 4 steps. That was the first time just before Christmas.
It was good, but like, I struggled to do it, like, because like, it was only like 4 steps, so it was like, it wasn't as like good for me as what it was for them, because they're saying like from where I come from, like I missed the early stages, so, and I was thinking like I should be able to do much more than that, and so they were a lot happier than what I was when I done that.
Proud.
Well, like everything, I
proud.
cried with everything. It was like, you know when you have a baby and they do all them first, I got it all over again. And the nurses used to laugh because the minute he was going to do something, they would hand me some tissues, wouldn't they? Because they knew I was going to just bawl my eyes out.
Because he had to learn to feed himself again, you know.
Yeah. Drink.
Walk.
Talk. Everything.
Physios started coming like at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I used to wake up and they used to be trying to stretch my fingers, and I used to be screaming and shouting at them, telling them to go away and leave us. And they were coming back like often, like about 3 times a day, just to do like stretches on my legs and stuff. And we started going to the gym. Like I used to go on a morning, like for like 3 hours, and then I used to come back, have my dinner, and then I used to have to lie down flat for an hour and stretch out, and then they would come back for us and do another 2 hours, and just used to be the same thing for days and days.
He had a chart and he used to earn a home visit, and he would get to come home for the weekend, and then it was weird having him home, wasn't it? It was weird him being in here, but then gradually, you know, he started getting used to it, and then he come home finally for good, didn't he? When he first come home, I think it was more frustration than anything else. He was frustrated because I think that's when it clicked to him that he didn't have his old life. He couldn't just go out the door and couldn't just go and be with his mates, and he had to stay in and with his mum and dad. That's the worst thing for a teenager, but he was tied to me dad.
It was just such a relief to have him home in the first place. I mean, obviously everything had changed a lot more. We had to care for him a lot more.
And then it was a nightmare with his moods, wasn't it?
No, he's had some.
He hated us. We'd only been home 2 weeks. He hated us. He wanted to go back to the hospital. He couldn't wait to leave home.
He wanted to move out.
Yeah, just everything. Just hated everything. And he was just horrible. And then within a week,
it had changed.
Yeah, it was just he had to adapt.
I would wear pressure garments, but you only have to wear them for like a length of time. And like I think it's up to this Christmas, where the bottom half I won't have to wear any on my legs and stuff, because like my legs are healed up now and stuff. They're designed to like put pressure on the scars and like make them flatter and like softer, because like when the scars are harder and like they're red and raised, so when the pressure garment like push on it, like they're making it softer and like flat.
My dad had to cream him and everything like loads of times a day,
even a routine in his own home.
Massage him and everything, so he couldn't go, and they wouldn't let him go anywhere at the start. I think they were so worried because you have it drummed into your how special this skin is and how precious it is, and you know, this can't happen and you can't do that. And to a kid that's used to, you know, he go-karts, he loves go-karting. That's his major love. That was a major incentive for him, wasn't it? He managed to collar me dad while they were in the hospital, and to get him to cooperate, his incentive was that he would get to go back to go-karting. He used to go and watch for a bit, and then last Sunday he done his first race and he got first.
On the fifth.
Didn't he? Yeah. To see them things which are normal to most families We've went through so much just to get back there, isn't it? Just the normal things that we used to take for granted now are massive things to us. Like our relationship with Connor, isn't it? Like it's totally different. Like before he was just kind of the annoying younger brother who used to just bug the life out of his sisters, but now, you know, you appreciate it much more, and I think he realises, you know, what we've been through with him as well, because we've all done it as a family.
He has just recently left school. He's enrolled in college. He's going to be a panel beater, spray painter. So he's looking forward to that.
And he can do anything he wants to do.
Exactly.
He's come through this, which nobody thought he would do, and he's had to battle, and now he's just showed how much fight he's got in him. He can do anything. There's nothing that he can't do. Connor can do what Connor wants to do, and we'll all be there, you know. I think it makes us appreciate things a lot more, like with my children and that as well. You never ever take things for granted now.
It's been one of the worst years of our lives, but all the way through it, it's not just been, there's been horrendous times, but there's been absolutely some fabulous times at the hospital as well. But we've got through it all together as a family, and I think that's what actually got us through us as a family, isn't it? As the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to a fabulous life, absolutely fabulous.
Yeah. Loads of good times to come, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know, you never ever think that it's going to be you or anything like that's going to ever happen to you. But it's so dangerous. And I would just say, you know, before you mess about and before you think that it's just a bit of a laugh and a bit of a joke, think about what can happen, because it hasn't just happened to Connor. This has happened to all of us, all of our family. It's affected. And we've all had to go through this just for a moment of madness.
We're just a normal family who never ever thought anything like this could happen to us. So don't ever think it can't happen to you, because it can.